Hi, my name is Nikita Thompson. I am the executive assistant to Jonathan Cunningham, who is owner and guru millworker for Zoanna Millwork. I just recently joined the team, but I am super excited and I feel as though I've been here for forever. It's an amazing team and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Cunningham, owner of Zoanna Millwork here in Nassau, Bahamas. I've been in the millwork industry for 28 years, having a whole lot of fun. And today we're going to tell you a little bit about what we do.
When we talk about projects on the various islands outside of New Providence, New Providence is the hub for a lot. But I know that it's very important for all of us that production, construction, and movement of employment work is really spread to the islands. How does that work? For example, Disney is there. We know that Grand Bahama has a lot of work. Carnival is there, and we know expansions are on stream, right? Coming on stream. How does it work from a logistical perspective? And again, behind the scenes, what the average person does not know when you move a team or you move a crew or you move
Yeah.
equipment to these islands. How does that work from a logistics perspective?
Even though on the out islands, we don't necessarily um, work in such large capacities, we do in
Mhm.
some of these mega hotels here in Nassau. They might be slightly smaller projects, but the logistics are sometimes even more difficult on smaller projects. So you're often dealing with smaller ships, barges, small equipment, small movements
Yes.
of many things. But
Mhm.
um, the out islands are flourishing. There's a lot going on. So
Mhm.
that infrastructure exists.
Good.
There are just about everywhere. There are small boats that constantly transiting. You
Okay.
just sort of have to tap into the network of exactly what
Mhm.
exists and how
Mhm.
people are getting all of their supplies.
Mhm.
Um, and it tends to maybe just take a little longer,
Okay.
right? More steps along the way
Mhm.
and takes a little longer, but you can get things there in
Good.
small batches.
Mhm.
So the challenges are probably greater
Mhm.
than the larger ships that can just pull into Nassau. Um, but ultimately, it's similar. If you're still shipping things from around the world,
Mhm.
it's just there's just a few more steps.
Okay.
Takes a little longer to get there. And it often goes a different direction. So many of the out islands have direct ships that go from Florida to them. So we won't necessarily route it through Nassau.
Okay. That's
We
good.
might send it direct. And um, based on the the brokerage,
Mhm.
and clearing customs, things
Mhm.
like that. So a lot of the family islands have duty-free exemptions for
Okay.
certain things.
Okay.
So we may take the goods directly to the islands
Mhm.
instead of bringing it through Nassau, where there's greater challenges clearing customs for a good
Along the
that's going to
lines,
another
yeah.
island. So the logistics change a little bit and a
Mhm.
little bit more complicated,
Mhm.
but very similar in a lot of ways.
That's good. How has it been for Zoanna Millwork going to different islands with projects? I believe that there was some work in Abaco some time
Yeah.
back, and there might be something new for another island. How is it for Zoanna in particular?
We've worked in a lot of the out islands.
Mhm.
Grand Bahama. We were in Abaco for about 4 years doing a lot of work there.
Mhm.
All across Eleuthera and Harbor Island,
Right.
Exuma. Some of them are large. We did the Exuma Hospital years
Oh,
ago when
good.
it was built brand new.
Mhm.
We've done a lot of residential projects
Mhm.
on the out islands.
Mhm.
Um, we really enjoy it. It's a lot of
Of
fun. It's
course.
beautiful. I mean, who doesn't love being out there,
Right.
right? It's like
Yes.
going on vacation. Even though the challenges can be greater,
Mhm. Mhm.
but the majority of our team is all from NASA or lives
Mhm.
in NASA,
Mhm.
and we just rotate out. And so they'll go for installation purposes. They'll go out, spend a couple weeks there, and then they'll rotate with somebody else. So that
Good.
kind of allows us for installation to keep the same team but
Mhm.
execute in different locations.
Does it allow for engaging any of the locals on the various islands for work? Does it allow
Yeah,
for that as well?
and and because we've been working in these islands for so many years, we know so
Mhm. You
many
know so
people.
many people,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have projects from Harbor Island decades ago where there were these, I called them little kids, but they were up on the roof helping their
Right.
dad with the roofing
Mhm,
contract.
mhm.
Um, and then years later, they're grown men and in
So
the
you're working with
industry, and
them.
so we still know them, and so they
Good.
have a yeah, I have a lot of friends and a lot of connections in the out islands. So
Mhm,
when we go to the islands, we often work with a lot of the people
mhm.
out there.
Good. So what does it sound like from a monetary perspective with projects, upcoming projects on the various islands outside of Grand Bahama? What does
Well,
it sound like?
in the news, all you hear about is the massive projects. That's all
Yes.
that everybody
I
talks
know,
about,
right?
right?
Flagship. Yeah.
Um, but there are a lot of small projects,
Mhm,
a lot of small developments, a lot of residential development in
mhm,
the out islands. Once you've been there, it's so beautiful. You
mhm.
just,
You wanna go back.
you gotta own a house on the beach
Yeah.
somewhere, right? Um, so we don't hear as much about them, but there are a tremendous amount of small, really great projects
Good.
happening all over. I was in Andros just a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
and there's a beautiful little hotel that they've renovated on the water. They have a marina, and they're expanding. They're
Oh,
building a
wow.
residential community. They're
Mhm.
putting in some canals. It was fantastic.
That's
And
good.
those little, even though you don't hear them in the news, those little
Right.
developments are all throughout the Family Islands.
Mhm.
Um, and those are great locations for the tourists to go to.
Good.
It is some of the most spectacular places you'll find on the
Mhm.
planet.
Mhm.
Um, eh, so it again, it's really good for the construction industry for all of
Mhm.
these micro resorts
Yes.
and small little projects
Mhm.
happening throughout the islands.
Mhm.
It's part of the ongoing boom that's happening
Yeah.
in the Bahamas.
That sounds good. So it means then that we hear often of students, and why I speak of BTVI often is I actually part-time, I'm a part-time lecturer there. And the program is really good, really, really good.
Mhm.
They do a great job there. But oftentimes we hear of students who relocate from the various islands to New Providence. So it means then that we can see more, or there's the opportunity for more and more of the graduates from these islands to return home and then almost immediately engage in work.
Yeah. I think one of the best things a small contractor could do is get some experience in a big project. It
Mhm,
really, really helps them.
mhm,
So if they can get the opportunity even to travel to Nassau and be part of a big project for several months or a year,
mhm.
experience something different. There's a very different process in
Right,
large projects and how they're handled.
right.
It's a whole nother level of professionalism. So to get
Mhm,
that experience is fantastic, and to
mhm,
take that back to the small islands and
mhm,
smaller projects
mhm,
is a big benefit. So anytime that a contractor can move around a little bit,
mhm,
experience different things, whether you're in residential and go do some commercial work
mhm.
or the opposite way around,
Right.
you'll learn a lot of different ways of doing it. Change your perspective.
Mhm.
The drawings are different. The engineering and architectural teams are different. So it's great experience for small companies to be able to move around different projects, and learn a lot of new things.
Fantastic. So, Jonathan, which island, if there is just one or how many, which one or how many are the most busy when it comes to construction projects?
That's a good question. I think it might be hard to determine right now because
Yeah,
there's so much going on.
that's good.
Um, Exuma has a lot. They have several small little projects,
Mhm.
small resort that just finished up in the last couple of months that
Good.
opened. There's big ones like Rosewood and Exuma that's just
Mhm.
about to start.
Mhm.
Uh, I would say there's lots of action going on in Exuma.
Mhm.
Eleuthera is the same, being so large,
Yeah.
all the way from Jacks Bay in the south.
Mhm.
There's a lot of talk about a major development coming in for Eleuthera. Um, in the north at North Eleuthera Airport. I was
Mhm.
just there a few days ago, and they've got this massive new airport
Oh,
being built.
wow.
It's very
That's
impressive. It's a
nice.
big, big hole
Mhm.
and a giant building. So then in Harbor Island, there's lots of construction going on there.
So not any one.
Obviously, Freeport has some big, big projects
Yeah.
coming. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's hard to determine who is the busiest.
Mhm.
Um, it's also hard to keep track of how many small developments there are.
Mhm.
There's
Of
so many of
course.
them happening. Um, I think probably the larger ones have more going on. So
Yeah.
Exuma, Eleuthera,
Yeah.
Grand Bahama, and Abaco has several large developments that have been in the works
Good.
or in the talks.
Mhm.
Um, there's still rebuilding going on after
Mhm.
the hurricane. There's still
Yeah,
some
of
rebuilding
course.
in some of the
Of
small
course.
out islands.
Yeah.
Uh, I would say my favorite's Eleuthera, but
Yeah, I like Luther too.
that's just because I've spent so much time there.
I have
Yeah,
the best tuna salad in Luther
oh, is
ever.
it? Okay.
Yes.
I think they're kind of all bustling. There's
Yeah.
a lot going on with all
That's
of them.
good.
Same with here in Nassau.
That's really good. What about the southern islands? You know, San Salvador, for example, was a huge shipping port centuries ago. I was for that. But so they have been familiar with global movement from back in the day. Any projects that you know of or maybe buzz in the air for
Well,
the southern
there was some
islands?
recent talk about a new shipping port
Yeah.
in the south. I don't know anything about it, but I haven't spent enough time in the Southern Islands.
Okay.
I gotta get there,
Understandable.
right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't been very far south, but I hear it's beautiful. I'd like to go and
Mhm.
see the
Mhm.
flamingos and
I've
you know
not been there either, but
experience
yeah.
some of the other Southern islands.
Well, that's good. That should be good because there's quite a bit of movement in the Caribbean region, and San Salvador is kind of somewhere around there,
Yeah.
not too far. So that would be good. But it's good to hear that there's movement, construction, and projects on the islands because we want to know that there's work and people are engaged outside of New Providence where the greatest majority of us
Yeah.
are, you know? So that's really fantastic.
There is a lot going on. I think it just doesn't quite make the news as
You're
much,
right. Right.
but yeah, there's throughout the islands there's a lot of construction
That's
happening.
awesome.